Be the change you wish to see. That's the quote I have on the back of this necklace, and that comes from a ring that my grandmother gave me. It had that same quote around it, and it's something that I'm trying to hold. My grandma just passed, so I'm trying to hold that close to my heart, figuratively, and metaphorically too. Or and literally, close to my heart. Excuse me. It's okay. I got my dog under me. But the way I interpret "be the change you wish to see" is actively playing the role of a person you would want to interact with, or energy that you would want other people to embody. And that can look like you being the light of a room. That could look like you being the voice of reason sometimes when people are acting up, acting a trip, or sometimes it could be you speaking out of turn, but some things need to be said. Be the change you wish to see it has multiple meanings to me, and right now it's really just charging myself with energy when I go somewhere, when I'm interacting at work, or when I'm in a social setting, to see how much I can change in a positive way, but giving my own input into a room. And I think everyone should interpret it, and try to put that same energy out, because a lot of times what we do is we go places, and when it's not something we like, we'll just take notes and then we'll talk about it later and gossip, and we have all these different feelings about people, but we don't actively make these changes that we could, and sometimes you don't realize how much you can affect other people just based off how you move. I saw this today with some different coworkers that, when you work alongside people so much, you kind of get in the routine of saying the same couple sentences over and over, having the same few conversations, the same mannerisms, actions. You kind of zip your lips real quick. But I just decided to kind of open up a little more, and it's like I unlocked some new dialogue, in myself and in them, and saw them. It's gonna sound, saw them more as human. Not that they're animals, but when you don't fill in that personality for somebody, you just kind of attribute that NPC energy. It's really easy to just treat other people very empty, And I think part of being the change you wish to see is, it's okay, baby. My dog sees my other little cat. Part of being that change is trying to seek that humanity in other people, and trying to extend yours over. You don't have to be everyone's best friend, but I think we can open bridges to other people connection-wise by trying to see ourselves in them. And there's a whole manifestation, train of thought, school of thought that talks about how everyone is you pushed out. And I've studied some things along there, but what I really take away from that is, at the core, we all do have these similar traits. The want to be validated, the need to be liked, or at least accepted in an area. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. We might all have different ideas and opinions, and that's fine. But I think at the core, we can at least understand that each person wants to be appreciated. And when you extend that out, you embody the change you wish to see. The same way you want that, you understand that somebody else wants that, and you can meet in the middle. And it's a really good feeling when you unify with the different people you're around, and you can change the dynamics of, sometimes it's the hierarchies of manager, lower tier associate, or a longtime friend and a new friend. You can kind of pair these different people together, and we can all still connect over just being, human, being emotional creatures, being stupid creatures, And it's not always hugs and kisses and kumbaya, but I think acceptance of yourself, acceptance of your flaws, but also acknowledging the positives you have, and leading with those positives sometimes. Not always being super critical about other people the same way you might be critical of yourself. If you're someone who is super critical of, in my example, if you're someone who pays attention heavily to your diet, you might end up being super critical of someone else who doesn't. And you could miss out on that connection. You can miss out on that bond with this person underneath your one filter of what they like and what they don't like. And that might be a weak example, but it's a lot of different things that we stop ourselves from connecting because, oh, they don't see eye to eye with me, so I can never, you know. I don't push away people who aren't vegetarian just because they don't believe the same things I do, you know, that. And there was a point in time where I led with a certain level of harshness that I might have pushed them away just because I was speaking the things that I believe to be true. And I think there's some middle ground with that where, you know, the same way you would want acceptance, you know, you should offer that acceptance to someone else. And I was telling my coworker this about how I try not to be very restrictive when it comes to my ideologies because, for example, I had a coworker who offered me some muffins, and my other friend, he knows that I don't prefer a ton of sweets, right? But I told him, like, me denying him the feeling of giving a gift would be worse, and it would be a lot more tense and inhumane than me accepting his gift and appreciating and being grateful for him trying to connect and give me something, you know. Whether I want the gift or not, sometimes it's just about that connection and being that change. Instead of me trying to explain to him, oh, no, here's what I think about white sugar, and, you know, oh, you're not a vegetarian, you're not a vegan, I don't even. Sometimes we can be so caught up in ourselves and how we think of things, we push out other people, and there's no change in that, you know. And if you truly want people to embody a positive acceptance energy, you have to show that. You have to lead with it. You can't always wait for somebody else to outrank or ratio you when it comes to that. So I don't know, that this quote means a whole lot to me, and I try to carry that with me in different places, and I try to make friends with different people, and just be very genuine, you know, and be very open and be very instinctual. I try not to think too much when it comes to interacting with people, and just kind of read them, read the room, and go with the flow, go with different feelings that come up, you know. Sometimes you can overthink how a social interaction goes, and if it's not the exact way that you scripted yourself in your head, you kind of nope out of there and you don't look for anything else. You know, you might want only short talk or small talk with one person, but you could actually find, like, man, they have ideas that you got to mine and get out of them that you might agree with, or you might want to build on top of, or you could spark a conversation. So it kind of goes in different ways, and this is the type of stuff that I really like thinking about, you know. Being the change you wish to see, you can apply that to so many different things, you know. And I just think it's a healthy action we all can take, even in small steps, you know, trying to accept people where they are, but also showing enough of ourselves that they can do the same. You know, it might be two people that think completely different, but the energies don't have to clash. You know, you can be the change. You could be the bond that you want to see in the future, and you can set the trend for other people. You know, that's what I noticed too. Is I really enjoy bridging people to other people. I've made friends with one group or one person and connected them with another, where I might be out of the picture, but now there's a bond there that they have, and they have something, and I can just kind of sit back and, you know, just appreciate that, you know. And I think there's something powerful in that, and that we all have those puzzle pieces we can click together, but sometimes we just get so stuck in what I like, what I want to do, everything of me. But, you know, be the change you wish to see. You know, I want to see everyone together. I want to see everyone to at least be able to embrace. You don't always have to you know, mesh with everyone, but be able to. So just another one I wanted to put up here. I appreciate all the love, and I'll be back with another one. So yeah, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Leave the words of grandma: be the change you wish to see. And I know she looking down on me, thinking about it, and knowing that I'm trying to embody that. So peace.